I've listened to this before, but I was listening to this interview with Kevin Gates, Aquarius, with Paul Pierce, and it's in that part. I paused it to come to do this because in the midst of that interview, he was talking about how he did a song while he was channeling the energy of his grandma or his grandmother, and he was releasing everything on the song that had to do with his trauma that occurred and his past and how the way he was treated and how he felt. And even on the brink of saying this, I already feel my own energy coming up. It makes me want to cry as well. And I don't think I have any tissue in this car. Well, I got nothing here. But it's like, it made me think about my own, trauma and how I keep skirting away from wanting to get into it and talk about it, and then I keep kind of shy away from it because I was trying to find a medium that would make me more comfortable with releasing it, but I don't honestly think there is a perfect medium. It's either it's going to be done or it's not, and that could be my Pluto Scorpio talking, third house. But it's just like, because I already feel it coming. It's just like, okay, I don't even know how to present this or say this, but like, for me, I've been trying to find ways. I'm telling you, this lapis has been giving life, right, for real. But it's like, okay, so the first memory I have about something about me feeling off or wrong was when I remembered when I was younger being carried by my father. We was leaving the skating rink. I remember we was at the skating rink on 8 Mile, and realizing like, oh, this is my dad. And then it just started to click to me like, okay, why am I just now remembering, like, or my awareness was gone and it just came back in that moment. That's what it felt like. My awareness of myself came back. And then I was able to go back and remember earlier things, like the house we used to live in, and like with my mom and the house we lived in above my auntie's, because it was a flat, like, and then it was like, I remember like the early times where my mom even told me like I shouldn't remember that because I wasn't even 1 year old, up to 1 year old. I shouldn't remember that, but I do. But it's like leading up to us going into foster care where I like fell and hurt myself, and my brother called 911. So my mother wasn't there, so he went to foster care. Like, I don't remember any of that, but my siblings do. I just don't. And I was also the baby. And it's like that whole time period up till me realizing, that I'm with my dad, that I kind of like it's all kind of blacked out. And sometimes I have dreams. I feel like maybe memories of that, but I'm just not sure because, it is what it is. But that was the first thing. This next thing was that, I was living with my dad, and my siblings would come over, my other siblings would come over to visit, because me and one of my sisters, we share the same parents, so we was basically together our whole lives. Everybody thought we was twins, but we a year and a half apart. But my siblings came over, or at least one of my siblings was still there. My older sister was still there, and she had basically had us the next part was that, you know, being kind of like in sexual regularly having sexual intercourse with my brothers, my older brothers, right? They would split us up and tell us to do certain shit. And again, at the time I'm the youngest, I'm the baby, I'm the last one at the time. Again, still not knowing what's going on, I'm just listening to them, which eventually led to, also at the same time as this is going on, my name is being made fun of. I'm always the butt of everybody's jokes all the time. And it was like, oh, just suck it up, it's just because you're the youngest. And I'm like, okay, I get that, I guess, but I didn't like being picked on. And I'm a Leo, so what Leo you know likes being the butt of a joke? Like, come on now. But it was like that, and that type of stuff. And then later on it became like a thing where it was like, oh, like they're, you know, the whole dry humping stuff, and it was like I was being passed around through different family members, and we were all young. We're all young. I'm just younger than everybody. And a few of my cousins, my mother's side, because everything happened on my mother's side. I wasn't around my father's family at all. Then it was like, bruh. Anyway, so that went on for a long time, what seemed like a long time, and then it was like it became like a routine. And then I started seeing videos of like different clips of like porn and stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? Okay. And then I'm looking at, you know, and I got a lot of Virgo placements, so I'm looking at how old they are, I'm looking at how they look, I'm looking at the scenarios they're creating, and I just started putting two and two together, like, wait a minute, like, you telling me that we've been doing this stuff and this is for like adults, or this is for grown-ups? And then it was like the religious part came into it, and then it was like, okay, so now I'm going to hell, or I'm a bad person now, because not only was this shown to me or done to me in a way where, you know, yes, it was kind of like secretive, but a lot of stuff that we did, we know we wasn't supposed to do. We didn't snitch or whatever. But then it was like, I didn't want to participate anymore, because I learned that it was not the right thing to do. And I found myself even in situations where I realized that I was perpetuating the cycle instead of stopping it, because I didn't understand at the time what was going on or what I was doing. But eventually I did, and I did what I can to do what I feel like was like repenting for what I did, because I never engaged in any of that stuff again. And I decided, you know, with, you know, starting living like a strict religious life with my mother, that, you know, the right thing would be to wait until I was married and, you know, to have sex and, you know, stuff, because I wanted redemption. I wanted to redeem myself from all the shit that I did when I was doing stuff that I shouldn't have done in a way that could, you know, harm me, my family, and stuff like that. So once I kind of like clicked with that, it was like that's just the thing that I was stuck to, is that I wasn't gonna have sex until I was married or whatever. And then when I got older, I was always being accused of having sex and doing stuff like that even when I wasn't. And I was always being accused of, you know, trying to be the center of attention, trying to garner attention, trying to be like, you know, I mean, she used to tell me, like, I'm not gonna be satisfied until somebody writes, like, for a good time, call Bambi with my phone number and stuff like that. Basically insinuating, because my family used to say, like, you gonna be a stripper, or you gonna grow up and, as my mother would say, have kids. Man don't want you or your kids, and you just stuck by yourself. Like, that's when you're gonna realize, or wake up and realize, to change. And I'm not saying that's the best way to speak to children, but I am saying that in some form or another, it was the truth. Sagittarius truth is it can be a little gut busting, but it was the truth, because I ended up being in that situation, you know, cursed, but I ended up being in a situation where I have a child and the father's not around, not involved. No matter how much I want them to be, or try to support the situation, or even support the person, that's just not what's happening, and I'm by myself in a situation. So, you know, only to meet somebody, have a situation where I feel like, intuitively, I feel like I should, you know, abandon my course of waiting until marriage and just go with this person, because any episode of being with a guy up to that point, it was like I was tottering the line, because maybe there will be oral sex, but it was not penetration or vaginal sex. So I felt like I was kind of getting away with, you know, stuff a little bit. But then in the event that relationship ended up turning sour, I feel like it kind of triggered me to reinvigorate that energy of, you know, never feeling like you're good enough, feeling like you're blemished or tainted. It was people that my family are friends with, like my mother and my sister friends with, that's on the internet, calling me trash and shit, and they're hanging out with them, they praising them. Nobody's protecting me, nobody's defending me, all because I choose to do things on my own and without that group or that company. And everything they was accusing me of, they were actually doing themselves. I was probably like the last person to actually smoke or have sex. I was the last one in my friends group when I got older to have children. I was the last one. But I was always being accused of being more than what I was. Nobody ever saw me for how I really was. And I tried to confront, you know, after my Saturn return, I tried to confront the people who played a part in those situations. Only one person, actually, my oldest brother, he was the only person that actually spoke to me directly and apologized. Everybody else just kind of like didn't respond, or made it seem like they didn't know what I was talking about. So because I didn't want to argue and feel like I'm giving my energy away when I can hold on to it and express it differently, I just let it go. I didn't even say nothing. But I'm like in the middle of, you know, picking up. But it was just like, you know, let's go home and take this in my house. But it was just like seeing his video, him talking about how he just got it out, and I felt like I needed to do the same thing, because I feel like a lot of that history is the reason why I made a lot of the decisions that I made, and because I never felt like I was good enough. And then I felt like it was generational, because I noticed very early that my mother and her mother didn't always get along, and then her mother with her mother didn't always get along either. And that was something I always tried to figure out a way to change, because I do have a older daughter and a younger daughter, and I've been trying to figure out ways to have the open communication that my mother created, which was different from, you know, the trauma she experienced with her mother. But now I feel like it's my job, along with the open communication, is having the freedom of choice. And I didn't like the fact that my mother made me feel like I couldn't live or experience life in a way that brought me joy. I always had to sacrifice my joy, my happiness, or even my confidence in order to get along with everyone, so I'm not alone. And it's like I had to sacrifice my authenticity just to say I have a family. And I decided, you know, around my Saturn return, I wasn't going to do that anymore. And it brought me a lot of loneliness, but that loneliness ended up being transmuted into time to really dig into myself and figure out what it is I want to do, what it is I like, and what it is I want to accomplish. And that's been coming up a lot lately too, because I'm starting to see more signs that, you know, the magic and craft or work or conjure or whatever terminology you want to use is very important for me to do it. And I don't like to, you know, because of how I was raised in that religious dogma of, you know, turning the other cheek and stuff like that. And it's like I've been really groomed to be docile. And even though I had a lot of moments where I was not, and I stood even for somebody else, or I stood for myself, I felt like I could have did better, or I could have did more for myself. I just didn't. Because I was always scared of being ostracized and left out in the cold. And it's like, if I was already going to go through that anyway, because I already felt like it, then I really wasn't losing anything. So now it's like I'm on the brink of going through another fearful change that I don't want to go through, but I'm trying to stay positive. But it's like stuff like this, when it happens, it just reminds you of all the times where you just felt broken, or you couldn't do stuff, or stuff doesn't go in a way that makes you, I guess, happy, or you don't have nothing to celebrate right now, or it's nothing to be happy about. And just trying to transmute the energy into something that is something to be grateful for and happy about in this Venus day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what miracle is going to happen for me today, but I do know that, you know, not ever being able to admit out loud what happened or who happened to me really did make me feel like I kind of deserve, you know, the pain of carrying the weight of that. Because I feel like that's the root of me feeling like I'm not good enough, or the abandonment issues, the self-worth issues, like being confident and being told you can't be confident because it makes somebody else feel bad, and having to live like that. It was like it seemed like it was all strategic, just cause. And it's like, how am I supposed to live a life where I'm genuinely feeling joy and I don't have no baggage I'm holding on to, with stuff like that circulating in my subconscious, in my decisions, in the mirror, and I'm projecting that pain onto my children. I'm always scared to leave them anywhere. I'm always scared about who they're around, whether I can trust them. I'm always scared. I just don't want to be scared no more, because I don't have a reason to be. But I feel like I just assume that I will do better and feel better once I was able to admit it out loud. So that's what I did. And I said I would go further in the book. I started writing when I first felt like talking about it during my Saturn return. But yeah, I'm just ready for a whole new life now where none of that shit even matters, and I could just finally let it go and just breathe. But first I have to do that. I feel like I've been through so much shit with people, and I'll always be like, okay, I'm gonna let them feel however they want to feel about it, and I'm just go somewhere else and just, you know, go be alone to heal myself. And, you know, whatever happens to them, happens to them. I was always a firm believer that something greater than I can know or see was always going to have my back no matter what, whether I knew it or not. But then I had to learn too that just because there are entities or energies that are protecting of you, you're still supposed to be here and protect yourself too in the physical. You can't just expect somebody to be or anything to be a complete savior, because we're the ones that's calling this reality into place. And just like even what Kevin Gates said, it offered me an opportunity, even though it started out painful. Those events offered me an opportunity to come here to do what I do best and heal, or help heal and raise the vibration of wherever I am. I'm able to feel people's pain points without even knowing that that's what I'm doing. I'm able to say things to people that I didn't know they needed to hear. I'm able to play music or play songs or play podcasts. Like, I do stuff and somebody is thanking me or is happy that I said something, played something, whatever it is, or, you know, they show me gratitude and go about their life, and I'm just like, I'm like, okay. But it's like, I've been minimizing it because, you know, that's how I grew up. It's like, you can't make waves, you can't be seen. Like, stop trying to be seen all the time. It's like, I never try to be anything other than myself, and that's not even a try. I just am. I am, that's it. But it's like, I just feel like now, moving forward, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm really a crybaby in real life, but I don't like people to see me like this, because I always feel like it will be used as a weakness against me, which will make me even more upset and things of that nature. Even now, just sitting here and watching these beautiful women walk across the street, there's something subconsciously that lingers in my mind that, you know, he might like somebody that he see here and try to play with my feelings or play with my heart. And it's like, why would I have those type of thoughts and feelings if I didn't already feel secure within myself? And it's because I feel like somebody has something that I'm missing. But honestly, nobody has anything that I'm missing, because I'm not missing anything. And I have to physically say that aloud to myself to rewrite my subconscious all the time. And I'm now getting to a point where I even say it to him aloud. Once I transmuted it, I like reaffirm it in conversation with him. Not to prove anything to him, but to deepen, solidify, ground my energy with myself, so he can think whatever he want to think and feel, because I don't have no control over that. He can move however he want to move. I don't have no control over that. And even if I tried to take control over it, nature wins, right? Whatever's real is for either of us is going to come to fruition. But it's been really helpful. So now it's like I get to move forward with a clean slate, with a clean view of life, and I don't have to worry about stuff like that holding me back anymore. Like, I already feel a sense of relief in myself, but you know, going through all of those things made me question what I was doing with my life. It made me question what I wanted, what I liked, what I didn't like. Even going through a phase of just, you know, not necessarily even dating multiple people. It was just like, okay, I like you, so I'm gonna try this with you. And then it's like, nope, discard. And it was just me trying to find my way. But even being criticized about all of that was a lot for me. The criticism, just always looking for a safe place where I could be myself. And I feel like I didn't really find that until I moved into my apartment just by myself. That's when I finally felt like I'm safe to be myself. And that's it. So I'm about to end this now because this foolish thing came out. So yeah, if you have watched that interview, or if you experience any type of serious changes to your home environment, stuff like, I do have Pluto ruling my IC, so yeah, shit was crazy. But at the end of the day, you know, it's part of the reason why I have such a fucked up relationship with family, is because I've been in various situations where I trusted when I should not have. I was betrayed without being aware of it. And then now it's like, how do I even maneuver? Like, how do I even communicate? Like, you know, it's just hard, especially being an aqua moon, because I feel like I need community. I need to feel like people have my back. And it's really hard to know when people have your back, or feel like people have your back, when a majority of your experiences are betrayal from people that you care about and you thought care about you. So if you've been there, did that, you're still healing from it, just know it becomes a way for you to learn how to transmute your power into success instead of replaying the pain over and over. It's time to release it. All right.